Madhav, go for live.
Going, sir, going.
Madhav,
Yeah, we are
go for
live.
live.
We are live. We are live.
Going, sir, going.
So, welcome everybody to this webinar, which we have organized to commemorate International Women's Day, which is a joint venture of IAMCR Gen Section and DME Media School. And this is a webinar which we have been organizing for the last 3 years. So it's a regular feature kind of thing. Every time we decide a particular theme for this, and then we request all the members of the Gen section to initiate and to be part of this whole venture. And this has become possible over the years with the very active support by Dr. Wajiha Raza Rizvi. So today, this galaxy of scholars are there. I welcome everybody, and particularly the scholars, if I name them. We have Christina Pulido Rodriguez, Miriam Rahali, Selda Ganesh, Lina Faye Simoe, and then we have Dr. Safa Osman, Dr. Naveed Ahmed, Dr. Beatriz Villarezo, and then we have with us Dr. Faiza Rafiq, Dr. Carolina Matos, and then also Dr. Mariam Shakila and Kirti Sehrawat. So everybody has joined from different parts of the globe. And I know we all understand that there everybody is in different time zones. Somewhere because we are starting at 8 p.m. in as per Indian time. Some are before it, some are after it. But I'm grateful that everybody has made it to this webinar. I welcome everybody once again. And without taking further time, I will request Dr. Wajia Raza Rizvi, who is very active in organizing this webinar, who is the co-chair of the Gen section. So I will request her to please take it forward.
Hi, thank you very much, Dr. Amrish Saxena. We are grateful that Gender and Communication section of International Association of Media and Communication Research has worked with you consistently over past few years to organize this webinar. I would like to invite my co-chair, Dr. Carolina Matos, to say some words and welcome the guests on behalf of the section. Please do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wajiha, for that introduction. I would like to first thank you, Wajiha, and Professor Ambrish for organizing such an engaging and inspiring event. As Wajiha knows very much, we in the gender section, we have been organizing in the last years quite a few webinars, and we would encourage, and we like it very much when we see our members taking the initiative to organize some of these events, and particularly now International Women's Day. And as you know, I've just recently arrived from childcare issues, as many of you probably are aware. We women academics have to continuously juggle our careers with caring responsibilities and multitasking. In many ways, we know that we are far from achieving a genuine gender equality, and that is across the world, both from the UK to India to Pakistan to Brazil. My work is with countries in the global south as well as in the global north. I've just recently published a book on 52 NGOs and how they engage from the north and the south. They engage in advocacy communications around reproductive health. So we are well aware that there's still some way to go. So we welcome these events, and particularly in such a crucial moment for International Women's Day, these things can't go, without anything. And we have a range of very prominent speakers. I've checked the abstracts and the papers. I think there's going to be some very good, interesting diverse discussions cutting across the board around this notion of women's entrepreneurship. In many ways here in the UK, that notion is somewhat criticized and attached to a kind of individualism and careerism of women. And so I think it's important the ways in which we can look how women entrepreneurs can also be vehicles for change for social justice. And so we have papers from journalism, from different perspectives, and we as hosts, co-chairs of the gender and media section, we welcome those discussions and we encourage them. So I'd just like to say just a few words on that, and to encourage also further requests for webinars. We are always open to that, as well as a final point, the newsletter that we organize. We also have a section for our members who would like to say anything that they've been doing. So we encourage that participation. And, you know, moving forward, we hope to see more of this. Thank you very much. And I look forward to the presentations.
Thank you, Dr. Carolina. Now, taking the things forward in today's webinar, we have added one special segment, I would say. We have invited two entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs who have made a mark in their career. And not only that they have made their career, but then they have contributed significantly to society and for the cause of women empowerment, because then any woman entrepreneur who is doing some major contribution will become a role model for other women. So two such women are with us today, Dr. Mariam Shakila and Kirti Sehrawat. Dr. Mariam Shakila has joined from Maldives, and Kirti Sehrawat has joined from Australia. So initially, I will request Dr. Mariam Shakila to please narrate her life journey, the way she entered into the arena of entrepreneurship and did some really remarkable thing. Dr. Shakila has been a minister in the government of Maldives. She is also the Honorary Council of Belgium in Maldives, and she is also running a company which is SIMD in Maldives. So there are many more feathers to her cap, but without having much time to narrate that whole thing all, I will request Dr. Shakila to please narrate her journey, which will definitely be inspiring for all of us to listen to.
Hi. Thank you very much, Dr. Amrish, for giving me this opportunity. And happy International Women's Day to all of you. I think every day is Women's Day, our day. Well, my journey started very, very small, let's say, but then through the challenges, I rose. But a lot of challenges that I faced, I dealt with it differently. So for example, when I embarked on my career, especially actually my political journey as a cabinet minister in the government of Maldives, I witnessed and experienced numerous challenges. I saw the struggles women were going through, such as trying to defy social expectations, struggling to be taken seriously, coping with fear of failure, on top of issues such as balancing work and family life, as I think it was Carolina who mentioned. Now these are same challenges. I think wherever we come from, whichever part of the world that we come from, these are the challenges that we faced. So whether as an entrepreneur or whether doing other work, I actually dealt with them in a different way. Probably a lot of us deal with like different ways. But what I did was, when I encountered these challenges, where we got challenged by males to override our voices or be quietened down or gave a deaf ear, preventing us from sometimes even saying one word. So often in the beginning, I had to speak 10 times louder to be heard half as often. So in many instances, such encounters disheartened many women I saw, but some got upset, became angry, frustrated, gave up trying, and they became depressed, and some of them went through mental struggles. And I felt that it was wrong. So I began to analyze the situation and became aware that I was in an atmosphere that has been created based on pervasive and long-held gender stereotyping, where women are not as readily associated with qualities like competence and assertiveness, especially as an entrepreneur. When you go to the bank or when you try to raise finance, you come across with all these challenges. So I set out to show that compassion and assertiveness can also be paired together. Then benevolence can be exercised together with firmness. I also realized that men are themselves victims of a system that has fallen off track, and that we cannot continue to play the blame game at men. So I decided to stand firm and courageously and confidently let my voice be heard, my ideas shared, and my boundaries pushed. And that was when I paved an easier path. Of course, I was not minus fear. So I realized then that it is a losing game to fight the system. So as a woman, I decided right from the beginning not to treat men as oppositional forces, but rather as my partners to pair our unique skills to reach success. So we women need to acknowledge that our greatest enemy and the strongest ally also lie within us as women. And the primary barrier for us towards success are the limits we impose on ourselves. Now, that was when I decided that one of my goals in my life would be also, apart from my entrepreneurship, to empower women and bring about a mental transformation to youth so that it expands their understanding and bring about a transformation to their thinking and begin by viewing the world through a gender lens. So I registered an NGO to empower women, apart from my other responsibilities, to empower them economically, politically, and socially as responsible citizens, with awareness and the determination to always move forward. While we open opportunities for them to take part in forums and seminars and talks and trade fairs, I send them on training and leadership skill building. We also encourage them to always remember that women, whether we recognize it or not, possess the ability to break down stereotypes, surpass expectations, and forge our own path to success. So meanwhile, I also invested in setting up a facility to address mental health and to build capacity for counseling and psychotherapy, and run many programs for women and youth to face the world with positivity. So through my affiliation with many other international organizations and also through our NGO, we guided them to recognize their value, encourage them to stop viewing themselves as insufficient or lacking, help them embrace their strengths and reject limitations imposed by societal norms so that they can pave the way for a future where their voices are acknowledged and honored in all aspects of life. So wherever I worked, I also managed to create a team where each team member is bound by a strong sense of collective undertaking that emphasizes team cohesiveness, sincere and constructive contact, and are ready to recognize that each team member contributes and shared the credit and the rewards, male or female. And I took time and effort necessary to make people feel safe and valued, and that fostered true network and collaboration that projected honesty, comprehensiveness, and respect. And it earned me the respect, love, and understanding from the people around me, especially when results started emerging. Those who were out to gloat on my failure suddenly became an ardent supporters. So I'm a woman who has gone through countless challenges, both professionally and personally, from a very, very young age through adulthood. You know what? I'm thankful for all those who said no to me or denied me. Why? Because they were part of the equation for shaping me to what I am today. I'm thankful for all the discrimination, name calling, and bullying. Why? Because it taught me to set high standards for myself and always to be at my best. I hate no one. I hold no grudges to anyone. Why? Because if not for their behavior, I would not have gained the lessons that contributed to my strength and shaped my character. So I'm thankful for the moments I was left lacking, wanting, and wishing. Why? Because it also taught me to appreciate what I have. I'm not angry at life because of all the challenges that I endured. Why? Because it taught me also to appreciate life, not to waste it, and enjoy every moment, no matter what. We must always remember that every challenge, every experience, and every obstacle is often a stepping stone towards better things. So this is the way that I look at it. So just look at us females here in this panel, for example, who have made their mark, shattered barriers, defied stereotypes, and emerged victorious. what is the secret to their success, our success? One of the most important secrets is the fact that you did not focus on life's limitations and imperfections and showed unparalleled courage and resilience and refused to be defined by societal expectations. So I believe success knows no gender and that true leadership transcends traditional norms. So women, all of us women here, in the world, everywhere, should turn all setbacks into opportunities for growth and learning, and should never allow fear or failure to deter them from their path. Leadership is not about conforming to predefined roles, but about charting new territories with confidence and determination. Within each of us lies a woman who is screaming to get out, who's screaming to be out there. So we must always remember and accept the fact that we may fall many times, and our fall does not make us a failure. I fell many times. We become a failure when we allow fear of failure or to defy our direction or deprive us of our dreams. You become a failure when you stop trying. So what matters most is how many times we stand up to continue without getting disheartened. So what matters is that we garner enough courage to stay resilient and strong in the face of adversity. So it is how we handle these anxieties and setbacks that will ultimately define our path towards success. So let's all nurture the ability to exhibit grace under pressure and take things in stride instead of letting our self-esteem take a blow. So all of us women, I think even the days ahead, it will happen. Although the whole world has progressed, the issues that women face will continue for quite a while, until we start addressing that from children through infancy up to now. So what do? Do we wait until that happens, or we fight the system? So the way that we fight the system is basically within us. The power is within us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shakila. It's good that we are starting this webinar with such inspiring words. I have been associated with Dr. Shakila for the last few years, and I have seen she is a real fighter, and she has been fighting with anything that is coming in her way, and then she continues whatever she wants to do. So, which is really, really amazing and inspiring for everybody. Now, moving forward, I will request Kirti Sehrawat to take the session from here and narrate her story to us. Kirti has moved to Australia from India, and then from Australia to China, but then she has set up, post this COVID period, set up her own enterprise, sourcing with Kirti. Sourcing with Kirti. She has come out also with a publication and also her own website, and she is really doing well, taking up new challenges, but then she has moved forward in her endeavor. So we would like to listen to your story, Kirti.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by expressing my gratitude for the invitation to participate in this webinar. It's truly a pleasure and an honor to have this opportunity to share my journey as an entrepreneur with all of you. I'll just share my screen. My name is Kirti Sehrawat, and I'm the founder and director of Sourcing with Kirti. From being a corporate mom to, establishing and growing my own online business over the course of 3 years, my journey has been nothing short of an adventure. It wasn't a decision that, I made overnight. I was driven by a very strong desire to, leave my corporate career behind and achieve a better work-life balance. Balancing the demands of my corporate job with my desire to, prioritize time with my family, especially my young kids. It was a constant struggle. The early mornings, dropping off kids to school, the lengthy commutes, and then the pressure of my corporate job. it really compelled me to seek change, make some changes in my life. And I finally took the leap into entrepreneurship, even though I had very little savings and I had to, solely rely on credit to start my business. I finally founded Sourcing with Kirti in 2021 and started out as a product sourcing consultant. My vision was to establish a business that would align with my personal values and with my, extensive background in the fashion and homeware industry. I wanted to just begin as a consultant. My aim was to assist all the aspiring e-commerce entrepreneurs, particularly interested in sourcing products from India. With the boom in the e-commerce industry, with e-tail giants like Amazon, Shopify, and all the various online platforms, provided individuals across the world an opportunity to become sellers and turn into, online sellers by sourcing products. And quite a lot of people have been interested in sourcing products from India, but they face this challenge of, doing it independently, having no background or education or experience in the industry. I saw it as a gap in the market, and my objective was to, simplify the sourcing process for them, provide coaching, mentorship, and become a solution for them, provide a complete sourcing solution to these startup entrepreneurs. Now, as the business evolved, I had a lot of people approaching me for personalized guidance and support, and it wasn't really possible for me to, spare time for to guide each one individually. So I decided to, create online video courses, and I even went ahead to, author a book, published a book on product sourcing, so entrepreneurs could just get instant access to the information and resources. And in case you're wondering, I've put like 10,000 hours on this one. Now, throughout these 3 years, I have continuously developed my skills, preparing my website from scratch, creating online video courses, hosting these courses on a digital platform, creating automated workflows, learning all about email marketing, growing my email lists, and then utilizing various social media channels, starting my own YouTube channel, doing social media marketing and advertisement on Facebook, Instagram, and everything I have learned from scratch over these years, and I have tried to master each of these skills in order to reach out to my target audience. Now, empowering women has been a central focus of my work, because many of the budding entrepreneurs, a big chunk of my target audience is, young women, stay-at-home moms, new moms who are looking for financial fulfillment, and they want to just start out even as a side hustle, or want to start off their brand with products but have no qualifications or support. So it has been very immensely satisfying for me to be helping in supporting their dreams and being part of their journey. I have also been deeply passionate about making a social impact by promoting handmade products from disadvantaged communities, particularly in the rural areas of India, with sustainable handmade, handcrafted products in vogue, and they are hugely produced by women in India. And by connecting these artisans to the clients worldwide, I have played a big role in their financial empowerment. Every single day I interact with clients, and I try to promote all these artisanal products, and try to connect them with NGOs who work in producing in all these handcrafted products, and provide employment opportunities to all these women in the rural areas. Now, my road to entrepreneurship, this whole transition from the corporate role to building my own company while pursuing work-life balance hasn't been all sunshine and roses. I've had my fair share of challenges. There were financial constraints, there were uncertainties. I had little kids, I have a 2-year-old son, but I have been very, very resilient and persistent throughout. I was really committed to growth. I continuously worked at mastering diverse skills, worked on self-improvement, embraced new technologies, learned new things from scratch, and identified the gap in the market, seized the opportunity to assist as many people as possible in this whole community of entrepreneurs, especially women, globally, providing them the guidance and support that they needed. And it's immensely gratifying to be able to make a social impact as well in the artisanal Indian community. And today I'm really grateful that I've been able to, I now have clients worldwide. I have a lot of students enrolled in my courses. I have work-life balance. It allows me to spend more time with my family. I have personal, financial freedom this entrepreneurship has granted me. And so this is pretty much my story. And thank you for allowing me to share my story. I hope someone will find it inspirational, aspiring entrepreneurs out there to take the leap, follow their dreams, and try to turn their visions into reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirti Sehrawat, for making such a nice presentation, impressive presentation, wherein you are able to connect to whatever you are doing to the women on the ground. And it really makes a difference in the life of the women all across the globe. Now, moving forward, I will request Dr. Wajia Raza Rizvi to please take it forward so that other scholars can also make their presentations. Dr. Wajia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Ambrish. As suggested earlier, we have invited Dr. Carolina Matos to take care of the invites. So I guess she has the program, and I would like to announce it while she's with us.
Yeah. Dr. Carolina, please, yeah.
Sorry, do you want to announce the program?
Yes, please.
Yes. The presenters who will be coming now.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, it has gone.
Dr. Matos, please turn your mic and camera on.
Yes, I thought you were going to present, but basically we have our next presenter, Cristina Polido Rodriguez,
Yes.
Department of Journalism and Communications, Autonomous University of Barcelona.
Yes,
as our next presenter. Yes.
Okay, if you want, I can begin because we have 5 minutes. And first, I would like to thank you, all of you, your effort for doing this webinar, also for the inspiring motivations that we have already listened, for Mariam and also for Kirti. Thank you for your inspiration speeches, that are very also motivated to us to continue the dreams and also to contribute to the social impact. And with this type of dreams, I would like to also to share with you one of the things that today is my motivation to be with you here, that is the dream to contribute to eradicate gender violence against women from media. And for this reason, if you have time to check it, the abstract, I will present you in 5 minutes, okay? Like, as you saw us, this concept, and after that, if someone is interested to know more, we can be in contact. Also, you will see in my presentation some codes in order to link if you want some contributions. Okay, then I will share now my screen. Just a second, please. Just okay, just a minute. I don't know what is not. I cannot share now. Now, okay. You see the screen?
Yeah, it's there.
Perfect. Okay, then I begin. Then, first of all, as I told you, this is a dream that also in academia and science we want to contribute to improve the lives of the people. And then one of the things that we have to do from science research is how the media can contribute to prevention of sexual violence and also to impact in the socialization of substandard behaviors. As you know, it's very important that people, we can be trained, no? How to face and how the media we coverage this type of news is very important, because if not, there are two sides of media that are contributing to prevention and media that are contributing to reproduce sexual harassment, glorifying violent speeches, defaming victims, as you know, that this reality we know so well. And then the first thing that we have to know is that whether or not to contribute to this prevention, first is a decision of editorial board. It's not we have to do training and all these things, but it's a decision of editorial board, no? And then it's very important to know this, because for us is a key point. And the second point that is very important is that the news coverage has to include scientific evidence and not hoaxes or opinions, no? As you know, for us, it's very important in the health to have the scientific evidence for doing treatments in gender violence. Also, we have to include in our news coverage what are these scientific evidence that already are contributing to overcome gender violence. And for this reason, one of the concepts that I want to share with you is this concept that you can also to link in this slide. And you can see that for us, no, we have defined this, and I see this reference from two of the prominent scholars of gender violence, the top two international scholars in gender violence in Google Scholar, that is this concept of successful journalistic practice in prevention of gender violence, no? What are these practices? This practice has to first achieve social impact of their products that could be from different formats, but also that when they do their work, you know that people when read, see, consume this documentary or this news, have conversations with people that promotes the overcoming of gender violence. No, the main searches are scientific evidence of social impact of gender violence, also to include the voices of survivors. As you know, many times survivors are silenced from media, or they are, with prejudice, stereotypes, and all these things. It's important to include the voices of survivors in an equal manner, and also be supportive with them. And also we have to apply international ethical standards, the dialogic approach, that journalists have to be dialogic with the people that interview, not to be, in a distance, because with these topics are very important to be there. And also we have to elaborate this type of journalist narrative in an attractive way. Two examples in order to share in these 2 less minutes. And one is published in Feminist Media Studies, that is this article, Biases Against Silence, a case study of the social impact journalism, and is based on the social impact of this documentary, Biases Against Silence, that obtained a Golden Globe in the World Media Festival, that contributes to break the silence in universities and in other spaces in Spain. I mean, the impact, we analyze the impact of this documentary in the public sphere, and we analyze 3 indicators that are from scientific evidence, the voices of victims, the overcoming revictimization and also overcoming second-order sexual harassment. That we see when we see, we did social media analytics, but also we include some interviews. People say that after seeing the documentary, they break the silence, they create networks, they go further to end the violence. And the other ones, example, the one I want to share with you is the other publication that is to analyze when omits or includes scientific evidence in publications, Science and Battles about child sexual abuse. And we found that when media doesn't include scientific evidence, then people, when sharing in social media, they are a battle, not a consensus, But that media that include scientific evidence of how to overcome children's sexual abuse promotes the consensus, the dialogue among people from different political views, religions, and all these things. For this reason, it's very important to include this scientific evidence because we want to end the violence against women. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for that very inspiring, engaging presentation. I saw someone had their hand up, but Dr. Ambrish, the questions are for the end, correct?
Yeah, questions will be at the end.
Okay, so we need to move on to our next presenter, Dr. Miriam Harali, LSE Department of Media and Communications.
Hi, everyone. Many thanks to the DME Media School and to the IAMCR Gender and Communication section for organizing this event and inviting me to take part. I'm now going to share my screen. Okay, so it's a pleasure to be here, and in honor of International Women's Day, I'll be presenting the Smart Cookie, the entrepreneurial recipe for female empowerment. This day of celebration offers an opportune moment for reflection on women's empowerment and emancipation, specifically through entrepreneurship. I'm currently conducting empirical research in the United States, which has allowed me to understand a bit more deeply how contemporary feminism has come to be authorized by a very specific political economic context. In previous work, I have argued that values such as economic success, new market growth, and self-entrepreneurship are essential to the conceptualization of the current iteration of feminism. As such, the construction of the empowered woman cannot be analyzed in isolation. Rather, it needs to be, first and foremost, understood as co-constitutive of capitalistic values and divisions of labor. Ideas, practices, and ways of living don't become taken up and popularized, normalized, if you will, overnight. It takes time. Social conditioning is a process that often begins long before we give it its critical due. We're here to examine empowerment, and I want to shift gears and look at empowerment as it intersects with entrepreneurialism through the lens of the girl. As Dr. Shakila mentioned, it's important to start early. This presentation is motivated by the question that asks, what's at stake when girls reify the type of power deemed valuable in neoliberal economies? Using the Girl Scouts of Orange County as a case study, I will now look at how entrepreneurial discourses are widely circulated while paying critical attention to the way cultural sensibilities are being registered and produced. The social construction of girlhood has material effects, thereby warranting an exploration of the ways it is represented. The Girl Scouts organization was selected as a case study because not only is it a pivotal part of women's history, but it also has an international family. Furthermore, the Girl Scout Cookie program is the largest girl-led business in the world, which provides, I think, a pertinent example for a webinar that's thematically focused on entrepreneurship and empowerment. As I started my analysis of Girl Scouts, the flagship cookie program and its multiplicity of methods commanded immediate attention. As you can see from the screenshot, learning to run a business, the Scouts learn anything and everything from cookie planning, creating their site page, setting sales targets and group goals, to marketing their products and interacting with customers, which very clearly illuminates the way young girls are co-opted into the capitalist imperatives, kind of that Dr. Matos had been talking about and critiquing before, of the neoliberal industries, and then interpolated as entrepreneurial actors. My analysis of empirical data suggests that a Scout's construction is done in order to fit within new and emerging neoliberal economic and social arrangements that valorize characteristics of independence, self-actualization, and empowerment, which is probably why cookie sales have been taken up each year, every year for the past 100 years with minimal scrutiny of the structure and social undergirding. The intense focus on individualism and responsibility is both a precise alignment with the American ethos and way of life, and also one of the defining characteristics of neoliberal feminism. New this year is the digital cookie site. As we know, and as previous presenter Mrs. Sarawat knows very well, one of the most important parts of running a business in the digital age is the website. And as you can see on the screen here, Girl Scouts provides a discursive template for the online neoliberal ideal. In creating an online sales persona, the Scout does not simply capitalize on identity construction, but circumscribes and shapes participation and identity. What emerges most vividly from the analysis of the digital cookie discursive construction is how the girl comes to internalize the culture's prescription of the desired self. The cookie phenomenon on the girl level is corroborating work done by previous scholars that define neoliberal feminism as an ideology with a view to converting women into human capital producing agents and as an investment in the self in such a way so as to increase market value and visibility. As you can see on the screen here, the hard work culminates in rewards. These incentives work to motivate not only the Scout herself, but also the group as cookie sales finance their activities throughout the year. The encouragement of goal setting and emphasis on individual achievement is crucial because it not only underpins the logic behind capitalism, but also concretizes a rather abstract concept for young girls. Success is a testament to her hard work, a discourse that is consistent with the neoliberal ethos in the US, whereby individual responsibility and market-based determinations of both moral worth and merit are celebrated. The money that's raised goes towards funding program pillars. While analysis of the cookie sales program allowed us to delineate a set of tensions inherent in the cultivation and development of entrepreneurship, these additional programmatic pillars allow us to identify opportunities for future social change, with girls participating in traditionally more male-dominated areas. As I begin to wrap up here, I want to touch upon one other core tenet of the webinar, emancipation, and how it conceptually intersects with entrepreneurial endeavors. As we saw in the case of Girl Scouts, the self-brand has a structuring narrative that indicates self-disclosure and self-presentation. But empowerment does not imply just any narrative of the self, created with an open cultural script. It's one that makes sense according to very specific grammars and literacies of the time. Going forward, it would seem like there are strides to be made in the area of entrepreneurship as it relates to emancipation. In a certain sense, we ask emancipation from what, which depends exactly where a woman is on her feminist trajectory. In the case of Girl Scouts, I would encourage more of an allowance to craft and curate their own image and control how their image is presented to the world. A bit less scripted, a bit more independent and autonomous. My goal today was to very briefly examine the way the girl herself became an enterprise. Each Scout was individually required to perform the role and work of the entrepreneur of the self. This early narrative of hard work invites comparison of other girls, both within the troop and more broadly, by symbolically illustrating the capacity of other girls to not only take control of their future, but also become agents of change in society through hard work, sales, and ambitious career aspirations. Being empowered doesn't happen overnight. Building a culture of empowerment doesn't happen overnight. This month is a reminder and a celebration of the work that serves to inspire, challenge, and ultimately empower girls and women around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very original research. Wonderfully, extremely inspiring. Could we have our next presenter? Dr. Seldag, if I'm pronouncing it right, Gunisbeski, Professor and Head of Comparative Law, Ankara, Wildemin Beyasi University.
Yes, Karina, thank you very much. I would like to share my, first of all, screen. Dear ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I'm a professor of comparative law in Ankara Yıldırım Beyazıt University. I am really happy to have the invitation to participate this webinar for Women's Day, organized by the DME Media School and Gender and Communication sector of IAMCR. I would like to thank and send my regards to those who contributed to this event. My speech in this webinar will be social exchange and entrepreneurship of women after the pandemic, a case study from Turkey. The employment of women is an important element of sustainable economic development. Today, many national and international regulations are enforced to encourage women and strengthen their position in the economic and social life. Unfortunately, after the announcement of World Health Organization about the COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic in 2020, many countries around the world have introduced restrictive rules and measures to reduce the spread of the infection. The measures taken during the pandemic have impacted family dynamics, such as family income, interpersonal relations, social activities, education of the kids, and many more, which created consequences for women. One of the biggest effects of pandemic was in particular on women's employment. According to the United Nations policy brief, the impact of pandemic on women from the experiences in the past and the emerging data, it was protected that the impact of the COVID-19 global recession would result in a prolonged dip in women's incomes and labor force participation. Under these circumstances, between 2021 2023, we were the partner of Pandemita project, which was founded by European Union under Horizon 2020 that aimed to contribute to knowledge transfer and the understanding of sustainable collaboration processes during pandemic period. At the end of the project, we organized a focus group event in Ankara to analyze the effect of pandemic on women and to find out possible solutions which could be a guide for the public and private institutions based on the experience of the participants who were women in leading roles and were active in different sectors, including the representatives of International Labour Organization and UN Women. During the meeting, health, women's employment, family life, and various social problems that women had the most difficulties during the pandemic period were discussed. In addition, as the activities and the experiences of the participants in that period were so amazing and inspiring, we prepared a policy brief for European Commission to support women's employment and strengthen their social status in the society. The participants agreed that during the pandemic period, the social situation and work responsibilities of women have become even more severe and fragile. Their workload increased at home and at work. As a result of the lockdowns, there has been an increase in cases of violence with the inability to leave the houses. At the same time, staying at home damaged their physical and mental health. The pandemic process naturally had a negative impact on employment levels and opportunities. However, in the focus group meeting, there was one example which was really inspiring. It was about a businesswoman from Ankara. She had 9 stores and more than 60 employees before the pandemic. But with the pandemic, 3 stores remained open and only 14 employees left. She had concerns how to pay shop rents and employee salaries as her income decreased, but not the expenses. She observed that street stores made more profit then shopping malls with the pandemic, and she continued with street stores but rejected e-commerce. After the pandemic period, she decided to work on home textile business and decorated 2 summer houses with personalized products. During the pandemic, she had the opportunity to think on sustainability. She worked with companies producing sustainable fabrics. She contributed to the preparation of a support program for the female employees of a company. After the program, the number of female employees of the company increased 2%. A kindergarten was opened, and the uniforms of the employees were prepared from sustainable fabric. In this way, she gained both financial and moral satisfaction. As a result, this example shows us that when women have the courage, they can turn negative situations into positive ones. They can adapt themselves into new changes. I would like to finish my presentation with a call to all women. Never give up, always move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that engaging presentation. So we have still another 4 presenters before we can move on to discussions. Our next presenter is Lina Simon from Bangkok University International, Thailand.
Hello, thank you so much, Dr. Matas, and thank you so much for this opportunity to present. I would like to share my screen, and so the title of my presentation is Amplifying Voices of Women, Autoethnography in Digital Storytelling. So just a brief introduction about myself. I'm currently leading a Hong Kong-based startup focusing on digital capacity building and BPO services. And I'm also serving as an editor with a US-based peer-reviewed digital magazine called The Autoethnographer. So as a background to the presentation today, it's about a development of the workshop that I have done for last year for a webinar and mentorship program attended by university students. And it was called Her Story Leads, Amplifying Women's Voices Through Digital Storytelling. So it was aligned with the theme of United Nations for International Women's Day last year. So the target participants of that workshop that I have built were women and gender equity allies from developing countries, primarily attended by students from Philippines and Thailand. But we have opened it to several students as well and located in other countries. And this is the list of participant locations of that program. And their background, they were chosen particularly for their degree programs that they are taking. We saw that these are potential degree programs that could be interested in doing digital storytelling. So these are the different fields, sectors who eventually registered in the webinar and the program itself. So last year we defined digital storytelling, but not limited to images, videos, audio, interactive elements, blog and vlog. And we also entertained a new and evolving medium that students would be introducing to us. So for the exploration that I did, the method of exploration is autoethnography. For the theoretical lens in developing this workshop was a feminist standpoint theory. And for the analytical framework, it was We Do's Ikigai. Just a brief background, We Do is a nonprofit organization supporting women change makers in Asia and the Global South, for which I am also serving as a mentor with them for 2 years now. And for the output of that particular workshop, it was a digital storytelling draft using the medium of choice of the participants. So just briefly, the theoretical lens that I used in developing the workshop was feminist standpoint theory, of course, focusing on the concepts of the voice, standpoint, situated knowledges, and sexual division of labor. And just briefly, also an introduction of we use ikigai. Iki means life, gai means value or worth. And so the exploration of their ikigai is the intersection of what you love, what the world needs, what you are good at, and what you can get paid for. So all of these, the intersection of that would be the ikigai or life's worth. And that workshop was divided in 3 parts. Part 1 was identifying the digital storytelling medium that students were good at. So we allowed them to identify what they think they are good at. So depending on their degree programs or what their interests or what they're doing. So some responses were animation, film, blogging, etc. And then for the part 2 was understanding their ikigai. So of course they were guided by questions related to their passion, their mission, their vocation, and their profession. So they were all set of questions using the framework of Widu's ikigai. And then for the part 3 was understanding the social causes that they are passionate about. So their responses could be gender equality, environment, family values, etc., and whatever they could think of during the workshop. And then finally, based on the topic that they have chosen, they were also asked to explore a personal experience based on their related topic that they have chosen or responses in part 3, which is the beginning of an autoethnography. So the results, the medium of choice of most of the participants were writing. And then for understanding their ikigai, most of the, or some of the mission responses that they have submitted were social change. Another wrote, the world needs to be safer, kinder, and better for all people of diverse sexualities, especially to women, girls, and LGBT community. And another wrote to spread compassion. For vocation responses, some of them wrote researching, writing, interviewing, and then also interpersonal communication. For profession question, some of the profession responses they have submitted were researcher, writer, journalists. So some of those are just a sample of that. And then for topics that they are passionate about, some of the topics that came out were gender equality, mental health, education, family values. And then for the activity of their personal experiences that they want to talk about based on the topic that they have chosen, some of the responses that I can quote are the mental health effects of workplace sexual harassment in the Philippines. Another wrote, being educated to certain matters makes you empowered. And another wrote, I want to present the acceptable family values. So to answer a research question, can autoethnography in digital storytelling be used to amplify women's voices? Through this workshop, I identified still existing social injustices and challenges, and it ignited conversations that could potentially lead to amplify women's voices through embracing their personal experiences. Autoethnography in digital storytelling was seen to have served as a stimulus for empathy for others, finding strength in their own experiences, understanding themselves and others, and even mobilizing their communities towards social causes they are passionate about. I also recognize the magnitude of providing guidance and support to future storytellers as they develop their autoethnographies and acknowledge their stories as catalysts of change and as valuable resources. This experience allowed me to see the value and the importance of individuality in adapting an intersectional lens in both research and activism. And last, I find that societal change can begin by amplifying women's voices through acknowledging the value of autoethnography in digital storytelling. So that wraps up my presentation. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much for that. I think there probably will be a lot of discussions around digital storytelling and feminism. I know I'm interested in that as well. So to our next presenter, Dr. Naveed Ahmad, founding VC of Emerson University, professor and chairman, Department of English, Bahauddin Zakaria University, Pakistan.
Thank you very much, the organizers and the participants. Can you hear me all? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
sir.
okay. Thank you. I'm going to share my presentation. Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, can you see my presentation slides?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the topic is legal text simplification, a way to empower women. This research was carried out at the University of Cambridge as I was carrying out my postdoc project there. And as far as the topic is concerned, the purpose of this was the purpose of this topic was to empower women by providing them easy access to the laws that protect them, protect their rights. The background is this that, as all of us know, that there's a history of the development of feminism and women, the outcome of various movements, theoretical movements, and activist movements. The result is that women's rights have been protected through legislation during the course of history, and the process is still ongoing. However, we see that a lot of laws have been enacted with this regard, whether the country is a really developed one or the underdeveloped or the developing countries. So in all the countries, there has been some sort of development. However, the problem is that the language of law is complex and only lawyers and judges can comprehend it as far as legislation is concerned, though it reaches to the general public through media and other things. But as far as the specific laws are concerned, so still we see that studies have shown us that most of the laypersons, educated laypersons, women and even men, they are unaware of the legislation that have been done. And if they are at all aware of lawyers or the people who are experts in the field of law, they are so busy or they are not propagating into simple English or simple language. Therefore, there's a problem of the issue is the accessibility of laws that protect women's rights to the general educated laypersons, those who do not have any education with reference to their degree of law. So the next, my point is that I carried out a research since I'm a linguist. So the purpose of this research was to see whether the laws could be simplified or not. So my research was specifically to test whether the complex structure of legal English could be simplified, to check which easification devices can work effectively to simplify legal English, to select some significant laws that protect women's rights and subsequently simplify them. And then after simplifying them, to experiment those laws on various subjects. So that was what my research was. And then if we talk about the significance of this research, so existing laws that protect women's rights can be converted into simplified versions. Women would have awareness about their rights. Society would also have greater awareness of women's rights, and greater awareness will prevent violation of laws that that protect women's rights, and it would be a great step to remove gender inequalities. So my research questions were various research questions. Just to cut it short, the main research question was, research questions were whether it could be simplified, and then what ways could be effective, because there are many ways. And I looked into all the ways, and then I tested those ways and checked by giving by giving a test to the participants applying the test. And then I had statistical results. So these are in methodology, I developed tests. I selected a few laws from the corpus, that the laws that protect women's rights, and then various devices were used. These are the details of the devices. Due to shortage of time, I'm not going into the details of these devices. And then these are all various ways to simplify laws. And the overall effect was, and these are all methodologies. I'm skipping these slides because of shortage of time. These are research sites. Next. And overall analysis, these are the details of the analysis. I'm going to move to the conclusion that it was figured out that it is, number one, possible to simplify, but also I looked at various ways, and I identified that these particular ways are more useful. And then the findings were sent to different policymakers, and some of the laws have been simplified in Pakistan. And I look forward, and I suggest to all other participants that they should propagate this idea that legal English, which is only comprehensible for lawyers, should be written in such a manner that it is accessible for the common lay audiences as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. Our next presenter is Dr. Beatriz Vilarejo Balido, Maria Zambrano Postdoctoral Fellow from Journalism Communication Science, Faculty Communication Science, University Autonomous Barcelona.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to talk about gender and journalists using scientific evidence in gender news coverage. And now, so let's get started. Journalists' public responsibility has always been to lead change, especially in explaining and simplifying complex scientific terminology and concepts. And the gender issues in the media have been extensively studied over time. As current research indicates, there is still a need to improve journalist practice to contribute to gender equality rather than violence against women. However, there is still a lack of analysis on the use scientific evidence in gender reporting. With regards to journalism and science articles appear mainly in science sections and in specialized magazines and science programs on radio and television. This situation highlights the lack of journalistic practice in the application of science and social science in particular. Thus, the application of current science in storytelling would advance and improve the quality of the profession. In relation to the application of scientific evidence in gender coverage, the results of the research found that the journalist practice contribute to overcoming sexual harassment and improve the audience trust in journalists. And now let's focus on this. I will focus on two pieces of research that we have done. The first one is about comparative analysis of 3 online newspapers, and the second one entitled The Scientific Evidence on Gender in Journalistic Practice in the UK. In the first research, we focused on comparing the use of scientific source in journalistic articles on gender and health in mainstream newspapers such as The Guardian, The New York Times, and El País. The aim was to find out to that extent gender articles use scientific source in the journalist narrative. When we go to see the articles related to health, the results are as follows. The turquoise and blue columns are the ones that have applied scientific evidence. We can see that they are higher than the red ones, which are the ones that don't apply scientific evidence. On the other hand, in the case of gender articles analyzed, you see that the columns are reversed. The red columns are higher than the indigo or purple columns. So we see that the articles that talk about gender apply less scientific evidence in general. And when we focus on scientific evidence about gender, the results is ever false. None of the three journals is about 5% of the sample analysis. In the light of about the results, we wanted to look more closely at the use scientific evidence in UK journalist coverage. The broadcast content of the BBC News and 10 and the BBC News Weekend last was analyzed. During all the broadcasts, 8 news stories about gender and measure. An analysis of height BBC News or article stories analysis reveals that only 12.5% of them include data on scientific evidence on gender. So in conclusion, many journalist article analyses addressing gender after lack the incorporation of scientific evidence, unlike articles on health issues where such evidence is more commonly applied. This highlights a notable gap in the intersection of science and journalism within the gender discourse. Universities play a crucial role in addressing this gap by training journalists to integrate scientific evidence and, in a sense, fostering a dialogue between the realms of science and journalism is imperative, emphasizing the need for evidence-based reporting in gender coverage. This collaboration, this collaborative approach ensures a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of gender issues in the media landscape. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our last presenter, Dr. Safa Osman, Associate Professor, Coordinator of Radio and TV Program, Mass Communication College, Ajman University.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you again. I think first webinar with you. Really, I'm so happy what I'm hearing from our colleague. Every speech put on a spot. Everyone imagine and remember what we had before and now what we have planned. Because I have tight time, I will start about if all our colleagues are talking about recipe and salts and the digital storytelling, I'll be put spot on factor of success. Factors of the success of women in entrepreneurship. I think we have a lot, that's like examples. Maybe everyone has their own factors, depend on environment, depend on the persons what will collaborate to be start to be entrepreneurship. First one to sure everyone from women has to be a clear vision She wants a clear vision of what she wants to achieve through her business venture, and readiness to learn. Sure, I think I'm hearing from my colleague talking about pandemic of COVID. Well, I think this crisis for every person, not only for every woman, explore themselves. What can I do during this crisis? So many projects and many startups start during this crisis, but after this crisis, I think not one of them, not one man stop, because already start, because now she has a project, she has a vision, she has a skills need to be obvious. So to go forward, to continue to develop skills and knowledge through continuous learning and talking advantage and educationally opportunities, and she is thinking outside of the box, to seek a new project, a new step, how to continue. Sure, all this, even by default, it means we have a strategic plan, the ability to develop strategic plans for growth and sustainable business. If I need to start project, I think I need to success. So I need to have a plan to continue to make improvement after a long time. Other success, I think we can talking about communication skills. Many of us, we have a target, we have a goal. I hope to achieve like this, but can I express? Can I talk a lot in specific points about my project? So we need to go to communication skills, the ability effectively communicate with customers, with partners, with responsible, and the team members. How can talk and discuss? I think this talent need talk and hear from others. Leadership and team management is a strong point. A lot of us, we have managers, but not leaders. I think we need to improve these skills to women, how to be leader, to talk, obvious, direct, and hear from others, to gain many experience from the team. Analysis and decision making, ability to analyze data. Sure, if I need to start project, I need to know all information about the market. I need to start competitive partners, stakeholders, all this for me, this data. Other success, if I need to start a new project, sure, I need to have ability to adapt changes in business market. I need to put in my mind the market it change, depend on the environment, depend on the current events. Be ready for this chance, and I have alternatives. Social responsibility is the most one of the success of women entrepreneurship. Social responsibility is a commitment, business ethics, and contribute to marketing positive impacts on society. I need to go something, I think a lot of us talking about opportunities and challenge. And we start with a challenge. And for me, I start with challenge. The challenges for this, for women during the rule of entrepreneurship, maybe financing. Sure, I need money to start, but who will give me money? Maybe government, banking, investors, but this more difficult, how to convince them I need money to fund my project, and sure project will be success during short time, because if need to take money, sure after short time to feedback again. Another thing, balancing between personal and professional life. No one, when you start work, at least for us, between university and between personal life. We need to make balance. We need to be success in my life, personal life, and I need also success in practical life or professional life. This one of challenge. Who's helped me to success two lives? I think family will be supporter to give me time to make successful in professional life and personal life. Gender bias, women may face gender bias in certain industries when interacting with partners or clients. Maybe stereotypes with this internship before, especially for male or men. But now, previous years, short years, during crisis, I think most of the entrepreneurs started during COVID from is women. If we make like quick view to social media or projects online on social media, most of them from women. So I think the digital media, when this starts, some people search for joy, but during a crisis, social media now is a big partner to how to succeed. At the end, because I know I haven't enough time, I think all of us, we need to take decision. Don't be FOMO person. FOMO person, it don't like fear of missing out. Please be JOMO person. JOMO person, joy of missing out. If I'm missing something, be joy, be enjoy. Because even something not achieved like what I dream, sure, the next step, if I insist to happen, I'll be do it and enjoy missing out. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those presentations. As we're aware, we have around 20-30 minutes for questions. I would first like to pass to the organizers, Ambrish and Wajiha, should they would like to say a few things before we move on to questions, please raise your hand, or there was someone in the beginning that wanted to say something.
I will request Dr. Wajiha to facilitate if any of the scholars want to raise any point, to make any point, or whatever has been spoken by all the esteemed scholars. If any one of you listening to some other's point, if there is something to raise or there is something to respond, so that can be done. Dr. Wajiha, please facilitate this session. We can reserve 5 minutes for this.
Dr. Ambrish Saxena and Dr. Carolina Matos, thank you very much for, as mentioned before, I was traveling, for 17 hours. And I especially requested Dr. Carolina Matos. She is a very senior specialist in this area. And I guess all of us are media and communication and gender specialists. And I'm very grateful that all the presenters were present and they have discussed very versatile topics relating to women issues and gender issues, etc. So I would just request that I would invite all the participants to raise their hands and ask questions. And I guess Dr. Saxena can take care of the question answer session, and Dr. Matos, while she's around, she can conclude as well. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, so the participants, all the people in the audience, the students and the teachers who are there, if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand and ask. By the time any question is coming, I will request any of the scholars if they want to add something to whatever they have said after listening to all their colleagues.
And I guess that scholars can also ask questions and create discussion around this topic, because I think topics were numerous and they covered not only entrepreneurship, but also many legal issues. So I guess we can welcome discussion among participants and questions and answers by everyone.
There's two people with raised hands, Wajiha.
Yes. Okay. So Dr. Ambrish, please. Yeah. And Dr. Matus.
See, I mean, I wanted any of the scholars to add something to whatever has been said. Or I wish if some of the questions come, so it would have been better to respond to those questions.
Yeah.
Zelda?
Can people speak? Yeah.
I would like to thank all the presenters, really inspiring and interesting topics. My question will be, I can't remember the name of the presenter about the legal texts. I would like to ask, as I'm a lawyer, we always discuss about these topics, the ordinary people should understand, or how should they understand. It's a kind of a project, as far as I understood from your presentation. Were there also lawyers inside this project, or only linguistics?
That question is for Dr. Naveed. Yeah.
Yes, it's a good question. In fact, I was carrying out this project with another linguist at the University of Cambridge, and he was my supervisor as well there during postdoc research. But we were taking on board many lawyers and law professors and judges as well, because, for example, we were to select. First, we were to see the corpus that contained laws that protect women's rights in Pakistan. And first, for that we needed help from lawyers and law community, and then we were to decide which laws were to be taken for experiment. And then again, for the matter of content, clarity in content, and the construct of the tool and everything, they were all on board. So in that sense, the answer is that yes, it was a sort of collaborative work. Linguists as well as people belonging to the profession of law.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think if I want to add something to this, because I'm also a master's in law and I understand law in substantially. I mean, if you look into the legal scenario and the judicial spectrum in India and Pakistan, it's almost the same. The major problem is that the clients, the people who are fighting in the court, who are into litigations, they hardly understand as to what has been written in the legal language, whether it's a submitting of an affidavit or whether it's an order given by a judge. So making that easy to the people, to the common people who are not well versed with the legal system, or who are not that way educated, or who are not having that kind of means wherein they can understand as to what kind of orders are being made by the judiciary. So there is definitely a need to make it all easy to all common people, and definitely to women, because women otherwise, whenever litigation is there, always men are in the forefront, women are behind. So if women understand this, so definitely they can also contribute something to this. I'm not sure as to what is the scenario in the developed world. So if any of the participant from the developed world, if they can add something to this.
Dr. Ambrish, I just wanted to add, I am inviting with you all our participants to add on your question. I just wanted to add, I guess Dr. Naveed at that time also was in touch with Women Council, for example, because in Pakistan, we have this body that is, I believe, a government body, and the government appoints chairperson of Women Council as well. So I guess that was another body that was helping him in providing him some data, by providing him some data to work on when he was working on this project. So sorry, I think that's all from my side, and I look forward to more responses. So anyone from global?
Karen has her hand up.
Yeah, Karen. Yeah, please ask your question. Even if if your video is not on, even then you can ask the question. Just put your audio on.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to let all of you know that I'm very grateful and I'm very lucky that I connected to this webinar. I am, very much impressed by all the presentations, particularly proud, if I may say, of my colleagues from Barcelona, whom I'm always, glad that every time I listen to this type of presentations, we always learn something. And I also wanted to point out the importance that there is with all these developments, technological developments, and especially related to law, as you were just saying, with the AI improvements that the technology is bringing, there's also the danger of more unprotected sectors of the citizenship, like in this case, of course, children and women, always women. And that is something that is causing a lot of concern. But so far, what we have is a lot of concern and few practical solutions or remedies to this. So it would be interesting to find out more and try to research more in this aspect of the new technologies that are coming and how can we be advanced technologically, but also protected in the part that we most cherish, which are the families, our own dignities, and so on. I also wanted to thank Mariam Shakila because I was very much moved and positively impressed by her opening this course. Of course, we all identify with her, and all of you were just great. Thank you very much for these presentations. Zelda was also fantastic, trying to put into the scene this initiative that they carry out in Turkey. So I'm very glad, very pleased, and very grateful with you, with Wajiha, for the organization of this wonderful seminar, and also with Carolina Matos, very much admired, and a friend of my colleague, Patricia Núñez at Complutense University. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Dr. Wajiha, would you like to make some concluding remarks before we move towards the end of the program?
Dr. Ambrish, thank you so much. And I guess that these were all very wonderful contributions, and I'm very grateful that all our colleagues from Global North and Global South were, were available to contribute in this session today. And I'm very grateful because I think we came across so many different perspectives, and this is just wonderful. So I would just request Dr. Carolina Matos to say whatever if there are no more questions, I would like to invite her to give a conclusive kind of, comment on today's presentation. And yeah, so we just move on from there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I thank you, Karen, for that wonderful summary of the webinar and for pointing out so eloquently, the strength of the presentations and the work that everyone has been doing here. And I concur with that. I think the presentations have been very impressive. And because we organized this, I would like to talk less and would like to give you the opportunity to interact. I would like to maybe bring, you were talking about your colleagues from Spain. Perhaps we could bring them into the conversation about gender violence and media coverage. Bia, would you like to say a few words, even to respond to Karen, and maybe talk a bit more about where you are at the stage with your work and the future of that? I'm very interested, as you know, as a former journalist, also in these research on gender and journalism. So perhaps some of our presenters would like to instigate a bit more of the conversation.
Add
yes.
to what Christina, and wherever possible, please also add how important is it to include men in these gender initiatives, because I think we are mostly focusing on women and men feel left out. So is it important to include them in in women empowerment research or women different kind of initiatives that focus on gender and equity and equality here? Thank you.
Okay, I will be quickly also to share this conversation with Beatriz Villarejo, but only two things. No, thank you for first for all the people that also share all the contributions and all the speakers, because it's very interesting. Second thing is that maybe Carolina, I don't know, but maybe we can talk in another conversation only gender violence and all these things. Maybe we can do a workshop or something like this, more an informal way, in order to share what are the different overviews and all these things. And regarding to the question about the involvement of men, we also lead a digital media it's called Diario Feminista, that is publishing everyday news with this overview, from scientific approach, and also when one of the ideas that we have always, because is a scientific, is a fact, that in the fight of gender equality and against gender violence, always there are women and men together working on that. And in the other side, people that also you can find people that are in another side, women and men that don't want to stop violence. Then this is important to have, because if you look in the history, not Occidental only, also in India, and in Oriental background, always there are people, women and men together, working against violence and for having more freedom for all. And this is a true. It's important also to say that in the fight of women, the protagonism is the woman, but we are equal. We want to be equal in this signs of the quality of difference, in this sign. But maybe we can talk more in another point if you are. And I think that one proposal that I want to give you is to talk more in another space, if you want to talk more, focus it on gender violence and to share more what are our concerns and all these things. If you want, we can prepare something. And Beatriz, when you want also to add something.
Yes, we can talk in other space, but we must improve journalists' practice to change the information that is transmitting in the news and inform citizens adequately about gender issues. Just as it is done in health is the same, because when I asked with a journalist in UK, there was concern, awareness about this problem, because normally the journalists, when want to write about health, normally they went to the institution of health. When they want to talk about of gender, this the normally is a politician's source, the politicians and artistic or performance people. This is as a source. And we want to, with other collective of journalists, we want to change this because it's not normal. The social articles don't appear the science. It's not normal, but it's not, and only with the aim of change, the quality of journalists is included. This is the same in health. Normally, the people when read the journal, the section, the people selection want to read the health sections, and I think we want to change this. This context is important. Include this source also.
We move towards the closing of the program. So before we end, I will request my colleague in the DME Media School, Paranjaya Mehra, to formally extend the vote of thanks. And before that, I will request all the participants here to remain on screen. After this, we will have a group photograph of everybody. So please stay back. Yeah, Paranjaya Mehra.
On behalf of DME Media School, DME, Gender and Communication section of IAMCR, I present the vote of thanks. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us today to celebrate women. We got to know inspirational entrepreneurial journeys. We deep dived into the world of research, innovation, and scholarly pursuit. Thanks to the invaluable contribution and the insights of all our esteemed discussants. I extend my deepest gratitude to our chair, co-chair, and the entire organizing committee for their invaluable contribution. I also extend my gratitude to our Dean Sir, Dr. Amri Saxena, for making sure that this event takes place year after year. Thank you, sir. As we conclude this event today, let us carry forward the spirit of empowerment, collaboration, research, and innovation that defines our journey as women. And as the journey goes on, let us also remember that strength comes not from the absence of struggle, but from having the courage to face it head on. On that note, I would like to sign off for this event. And as Sir just mentioned, I request all of you to please turn on your cameras for a group picture.
Yeah, all the teachers from DME Media School, if possible, please come on the screen so that we can have a photograph with everybody. The technical team, once you are over with the photograph, please tell us. Is it done, Madhav?
Yes, sir. All done.
So with this, we say goodbye to everybody, to meet next year with the same kind of webinar on some new topic. And I'm really delighted that all of you were here and such a wonderful contribution you made to academia and to this whole knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hobby areas, tick books, IT labs, assignments, class tests, and projects. Nothing besides that. Every hour, minute, second spent here help us carving and shaping our persona cultivating innovative mindsets for the challenging world. Learning is a lifelong process. Sharing knowledge, inculcating values of life, spark the innovative horizons of mind. Fun and frolic is the nature of every nook and corner here. A daily dose of thrill we are sure to get here.